up? Andrew Kramer here for VideoCopilot.net, and welcome back to another very exciting tutorial. Today, we're going to be taking a look at our new aircraft model pack, JetStrike. And more importantly, our name, Video Copilot, finally makes sense. Some of you may remember our original website from 2005. Back then, we only had about 5 tutorials, and we had this cool jet logo. And after 8 years, it's all finally coming together today. So let's go and get started. Let's not waste any time. The idea behind JetStrike was to create a collection of common and popular jets from film and TV to allow people to add them into their own video and create their own visual effects shots. And of course, we want it to be fast and very easy to work with. So let's go and talk about some of the features of JetStrike. Now, in this scene, I have my Element 3D layer set up with the jet. I've also got a sky background with some clouds. It's got a couple of lights. All right, so let's jump into the scene setup for this jumbo jet. And here we have one of the jets inside the JetStrike model pack. As you can see, it's very high quality, a lot of great little details. You can see there's 183,000 faces, so it's very high resolution, a lot of detail. And the textures are dual 4K. So you've got 4K for the exterior and 4K for the interior parts. But we've also done something else. We've actually created a lot of variations for the texture skins. So in this case, I've got another jet here with the Air Force One stylings, and we can turn that on and turn the other one off and hit OK. So now I've got Air Force One flying around here, and all I did is switch the texture skin. And of course, you can go in and edit the texture map. You can add, burn marks, or you could add your own logo, your own airline very easily. And of course, we're going to have tons of specific tutorials on VideoCopilot.net, so check those out as well. Now, JetStrike isn't like an ordinary model pack. It actually has some very advanced features that allow you to do things that you're probably not going to believe are done in After Effects. So if I take my Element 3D layer here, I've got this jet model on Group 1. We could take a quick look at this. We've got our fighter jet, and it's on Group 1. What's going to happen is when you go into the group settings, you're going to have a new option called Aircraft Rig. And all of the different rigging capabilities of that aircraft are now available to animate right inside of After Effects. All right, so we can take our aircraft here and we can open up the landing gear. So we just animate this and the landing gear opens up, and it's very cool. It's very fast. This is not an OBJ sequence. These are fully rigged. All of the pistons, everything moves. This is hard-coded into the aircrafts inside of Element 3D. We can also open up the weapons bay. So we can open those up, and we've got some missiles inside. We've got the side weapon bays as well. Let's see here. As we move this down, you're going to see we actually put in an incredible amount of work. So we've got things like the flaps, fully animatable. So as the aircraft slows down, you can animate the flaps kind of pulling down and dragging the aircraft. We've got our slats, which are going to be sort of in the front of the aircraft. And then we've got things like our elevator control. We've got our rudder, which you can see right back here. We've got the full rudder control. And we've even added control over the ailerons. So you can see that these actually alternate as well. So as it turns left or banks right, you can sort of animate these. And we've also got control over the afterburners or the exhaust nozzle. So you can open and dilate that. And depending on what aircraft you have, it will actually animate specific to that aircraft. Now, the fun thing about this is if a control is not available, it'll simply hide that control and you won't have to worry about it. Of course, we've got control over the canopy, so you can open that up and see our little pilot inside. Now, the pilot's mainly meant to be there just so as the aircraft kind of flies against the silhouette of the sky or something, you can kind of see there's somebody in there. But as you can see, there's an incredible amount of detail. All right, let's go and take a look at some of the other jets in this collection. We can come down here to the JetStrike pack, and we can start to see all the different models. So we've got the airliner, and you can see we've got the different skins. So we've got the airliner 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've got kind of your standard commercial airline skins, but we've also got some military skins for the military version of that aircraft. So just some cool variation. Come down here, we've got Air Force One, of course. We've got some props, some chocks. We've got the combat jet. And you can see there's just some really nice detail on these. You've got, spec maps. You've got pilots. And again, this is like 180,000 polygons. Incredible resolution and detail. Keep going here. We've got kind of a cool drone, of course. We've got the fighter jet. We've got the AC-130 type. This model is just unbelievable, the detail on this one. Little guns, and I think even the camera on the front animates with the rig. I know. I don't know why, but it does. Let's see here. We've got the Joint Strike with the vertical takeoff capabilities. And by the way, when you're working on the textures, one of the things that you may want to do is see what the inside of the aircraft looks like. Well, we've added a rig control for the aircraft. So this is just a preview control, but if you turn this up, all of the components of the aircraft will open up. And then when you start adjusting, say, the interior, and maybe you want to darken the interior a little bit, you can see what that looks like just by animating this preview. So it's kind of insane, but it works incredibly well. And as you can tell, it's very fast. This is not an OBJ sequence. This is fully coded rigging. More so. So keep on going here. We've got the jumbo jet. We saw this earlier, but you can see we've got some other skins as well that you can use and customize. We've got the pilot. We've got a cool stealth fighter, stealth jet here. And you can see kind of the rigging there as well. We've got a supersonic jet. A lot of cool details. Some of you might recognize this from a while ago. We've also got a MiG fighter. I mean, this one is just beautiful. Love this one. I mean, the spec maps on these, the detail just really makes these look amazing. And then we've got sort of the DC-10 style aircraft. So we've got the 3 engines aircraft here. And for those of you who know, a single model like this could easily cost $200 to $300 just for one model. So we're putting together the whole collection. Let's go over a couple of different examples of the aircrafts in action. So here we've just kind of got a jet flying down through the streets, probably going to transform into something. And this is actually very straightforward. So we've got our back plate, okay, Tino here. And then we've got our jet layer. And we've just done some simple 2-dimensional motion tracking on the background. And we have 3 different lights. So we've got kind of an ambient light. We've got a hair light or sort of a sunlight. And then we've got like a lower light coming from the ground. So the idea is that the ground is sort of reflecting this sort of brown light up. So by having a light that's pointed up, it kind of helps fake that kind of illumination. So we turn the motion blur back on. Bam. In this example, the jets are sort of flying past the sunset. Now, what's cool about this example, if we shut the motion blur off here for a second, I'm going to go into the group settings for the replicator. And you can see we're actually replicating 3 different jets on the same group. So what's interesting is that you could create like a whole squadron of jets just using the replicator shape. So if I animate something like the landing gear, you can see that the landing gear opens up on all of the jets. So if you have jets that are doing the same thing in a formation, this is a good way to control that. And of course, we can come in here and create some very dangerous configurations. So there you have it. And also you'll notice that I animated the particle rotation, and that will animate the aircrafts individually. Now, another great thing you can do is 3D track real footage like this city shot here, and then add things into it. So we've added these 3 jets flying in this city shot using the camera tracker built into After Effects, and we can create some really dynamic shots, add some glow, and make it look good. So for most of the shots in the teaser, I have pretty much the same setup. We have the jet, and it's typically not moving very much. Maybe it's flying into place or something like that. So again, in this stealth example here, the aircraft's not really moving, but the camera is sort of orbiting around it to give it that motion and that speed. So if we turn the motion blur on, you can see it looks like it's moving a lot faster. and like we're trying to follow it, we're trying to keep up with it. The other thing you'll notice, we have this sort of like fake zoom, and the way we've done that is just using the camera zoom settings. Since everything is actually three-dimensional, you can use all the different optical capabilities inside of the After Effects camera. Let me show you another cool feature that works exclusively with the JetStrike pack. So if we jump into the scene setup. All right, so we've got our Joint Strike jet here, but let's say we wanted to animate the missile flying off and crashing into something. Well, how can we disconnect the missile from the entire aircraft? Now, typically, you can use the material as a way to control that, but these aircrafts have so many different parts that it would probably just be a big mess if we had to rely on materials. So instead, we've implemented a feature for all the JetStrike models that allow you to control the mesh visibility. So if we click on Set, what this brings up is a list of all the objects that make up this 3D model. So we can really do a lot of interesting things. So for example, we've got the left wing missile. Well, I can hide that object, hit OK. So now that missile is not going to render. But what I can do is right-click on this and choose Duplicate Model. And then if we go back into the mesh visibility, we can go to that left wing missile, and instead of clicking on it, I'm going to Alt-click on it. So what that's going to do is isolate the missile by itself. So now if I hit OK, I'm going to put this missile onto group 2. So we'll take it off group 1, put it on group 2, and we'll hit OK. So if we look closely, our missile is still there. But since it's on group 2, what we can do is then animate it using the particle replicator position. So check this out. I've now got full control over that. Plus, if you go to the particle look, go down to multi-object, enable that, this will actually allow you to rotate it on its own axis. So you can have it spinning, you can see here. This is a really cool feature that gives you a lot of possibilities, for other things. Like for example, I could go in here and maybe I could detach the canopy or something and create, effect where this shoots off and the seat ejects or something like that. So that's a really cool feature that's going to give you a lot of control. All right, so this is JetStrike. We've got the advanced 3D models, fully rigged inside of Element 3D, military, commercial jets, mesh visibility control, plus all the 3D formats like Cinema 4D, 3D Max, FBX, OBJ, all those different formats, and all the various texture skins. And the other thing too is we also have these decals that are ready to go to customize the different aircrafts as well. So we try to put together a bunch of different decals that you can basically paste right onto the textures and make all the jets unique. Now, in addition to JetStrike, we also created another product called Flight Kit. Now, this is kind of an insane product that works well with JetStrike, but it also works pretty well on its own. Let me explain what that is. So Flight Kit includes things like a heat distortion plugin. So we built our own advanced heat distortion plugin that you probably saw in the teaser. We also put together an entire aircraft sound effects library. So 200 plus sounds of just amazing things. So check it out. We've got things like alarm sounds, we've got explosions, guns, jet engines, large planes, mechanical sounds like the landing gear opening. All the sounds that you heard in the teaser video are all part of this sound effects collection. For everybody asking about sounds, we put in a ton of work, mixed, mastered these, worked with some really talented people to get these right. We've also got 25 sky maps in 4K. So these are sort of spherical environment maps that you can use as backgrounds, as reflection maps. They're HDRI, and they're also set up to work inside of Element as well. And because you may want to blow up some of these jets, we created some very specific aerial explosion clips. So, all right, well, I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. I know there's a lot of variation here for some cool results. Anyway, my name is Andrew Kramer. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.